girls. Hi, my story timers. Listen, for our reading this time, have you ever had something, have you ever heard this before? It was so nice I had to do it twice. Well, we have a reading that's just like that. It is called Henry the Brave and the Cancerasaurus. A wonderful read. I really enjoyed reading it, and I hope that you enjoyed reading it with me. And this reading was written, this story is written by Meg Hutter. And the first time that I read it, like I said, I enjoyed myself. And the second time, Mr. Joel read it in his most theatrical voice. He did a wonderful job. I liked his better than mine. So we're going to revisit it because it was so nice. We're going to do it twice. So we're going to do this one all over again. And you'll get to hear Mr. Joel in his theatrical voice. And then after that, coming later on this month, we're going to read Room on the Broom. I really enjoyed this. It's one of my favorites. And then we're going to read How to Catch a Monster. I've got one in my room. And then we're going to read Horton Hears a Boo. And then we're going to do The Brave Cowboy. So for now, we're going to go back. We're going to revisit Henry the Brave and the Cancerasaurus. So anytime you have anything in your life that you're dealing with that's kind of scary and you think it's bigger than you are, no, it's not. Read Henry the Brave and the Cancerasaurus. Check it out.
Henry the Brave and the Cancerasaurus by Meg Hutter. Illustrated by Ben Clark. This book is dedicated to you, Henry. Continue to meet each day with adventure, bravery, hope, and love. And remember, even little boys can do great things. You are strong, you are tough, you are armed with love, you fought, you won. You are Henry the Brave. Henry was a little boy who lived in a big wild forest. His house was a mushroom, and his favorite game was catching bugs. As much as Henry loved exploring in the woods, life was lonely. Aside from old Mr. Toad in the nearby pond, Henry didn't have any friends, until one day when he woke up and there was a small lump in the bed next to him. "Eek!" shrieked Henry as he peeled back the blankets. Curled up next to him was a very weird-looking creature. It was covered in scales and spikes and smelled like old socks. He sure looks strange, Henry thought, but maybe he could be my friend. Everywhere Henry went, the little creature followed. If Henry swung from a vine, the creature was not far behind. If he hopped on lily pads, it followed with a splash. Henry thought he would like the company, but the creature did not laugh or play. It did not want to have any fun. In fact, ever since the creature had arrived, Henry has started to feel sick and tired. It was a horrible friend. Very politely, Henry asked the creature to leave. He ignored it and even locked the front door, but somehow the creature was always close by. One day, while sitting by the pond, Mr. Toad appeared. "Henry, are you okay?" he asked. "You used to love using your long, wiggly fingers to catch worms for me. Now you just sit there looking sad." "It's true," Henry said, looking into the shadows. "Ever since that thing showed up, I don't feel like playing. I'm tired and grumpy all the time, and the worse I feel, the bigger it gets." He threw some stones at the beast, which was now the size of a large dog. Mr. Toad frowned. "Looks like you have a Cancerasaurus," he explained. "If you want to feel better again, you'll need to make the long journey to the Oncology Castle. It is there you will find the magical wizard Dronk. Only Dronk has the potion that will banish the Cancerasaurus once and for all." Mr. Toad pointed to the mountains Henry would need to pass. "But I'm just a boy," Henry cried. "I'm not brave or strong enough for such a big journey." Mr. Toad reassured Henry that even little boys can do great things. Just say and believe these magic words. I am strong. I am tough. I am armed with love. Henry whispered the words, but all he felt was fear. I am strong. I am tough. I am armed with love. The next day, Henry set off for the Oncology Castle. He passed through the woods and streams, climbed up mountains, and trudged down valleys. With every step he took, he grew a little bit weaker, while the Cancerasaurus grew stronger. When he felt like giving up, he whispered the magic words, I am strong, I am tough, I am armed with love. Each time it gave him a little more strength. Along the way, he met a lot of critters. There was a clumsy spider who had gotten tangled in its web. Here, let me help you, Henry said to the spider as he ripped through the sticky mess.
I wish I was strong as you,
proclaimed the spider as it wiggled free with relief. The spider's words made Henry feel a little better. Now later that day, Henry was waiting for a storm to pass when he heard faint squeaks coming from a tree trunk. It was a nest of hungry baby squirrels. Henry quickly began searching the forest floor for nuts. It took a lot of energy, and he had to crack them open and feed the little puffs of fur. Wow! You are tough! They cried out. When the storm cleared, Henry waved goodbye. By the time Henry left the forest and started climbing the mountain, his shoes were covered in holes, and he longed for his warm mushroom house. Up ahead, he noticed a huge lizard on a rock crying. Henry felt sorry for the lizard, but decided to keep walking. He had to reach the castle, and his legs were getting wobbly. I am strong, I am tough, I am armed with love, he whispered. The lizard overheard him. Love? She cried. No one loves me. I'm so ugly. Henry sighed. He didn't want to stop and chat with the sad lizard, but his heart felt heavy. He knew what it felt like to be sad and lonely. That's not true. You are not ugly, he said. I like your bright yellow spots and big green eyes, and your strong, sticky feet are awesome. I bet you can run really fast. The lizard beamed, but then she noticed how sick Henry appeared and saw the huge creature lurking in the shadows behind him. Henry's Cancerasaurus was now as tall as the trees. Oh, you've come to see the wizard, she said knowingly, glaring at the beast. Without another word, the lizard lifted Henry on her back and started up the steep mountain towards the gleaming castle in the distance, the Cancerasaurus growing bigger every step of the way. When the lizard finally reached the wizard's castle, Henry could barely stand. He used all the energy he had to push open the castle doors and step inside.
Who enters my castle?
Asked a loud, booming voice. At first, Henry was too afraid to speak. He was just a boy. He felt so small. But remembering Mr. Toad, he whispered the magic words. I am strong. I am tough. I am armed with love. A small flame of hope flickered inside of him. I am Henry, and I'm here to see Dronk the Wizard, he announced into the dark. A deep rumbling filled the castle. Even the huge Cancerasaurus looked afraid. Then, in a big puff of smoke, a short man appeared in a robe with a long white beard. The wizard wasn't nearly scary as his booming voice. In fact, he looked quite silly with his big goofy necklace. I am Dronk, and I see you've brought a friend, said the wizard, frowning. Henry shook his head. The Cancerasaurus is no friend of mine. I need your help to get rid of it once and for all. Dronk thought for a second, then he said, I will give you the potion, but there is a catch. Henry groaned. He was so tired. He wasn't sure he could take more bad news. The Cancerasaurus steals your strength to grow bigger. Drunk said. There is only one way to stop the growth. To steal the strength from the Cancerasaurus, the potion must also steal yours. Henry's heart beat faster, and his knees trembled. The wizard stepped forward with the potion in his hand. The potion will help, but the best way to defeat a Cancerasaurus is here. He touched his hand to Henry's chest. The memories that live in your heart, said the wizard. Think of the times when you felt happy. Henry immediately thought of adventures catching bugs and swimming in the pond with Mr. Toad. Imagine yourself doing something strong and brave. Henry pictured all the creatures he had helped along his journey. Drunk handed Henry the potion, trembling. Henry swallowed it down in one gulp. Immediately, the Cancerasaurus let out an angry cry, began stomping its ugly feet. It roared and whined. It wriggled and jerked. Then slowly it started to grow smaller. But even as it shrunk from the size of a house to a truck, Henry felt his strength draining away. Drunk pointed at the Cancerasaurus and said, This is your chance, Henry! Again, remembering Mr. Toad, Henry heard him say, Even little boys can do great things. You just have to believe in these magic words. Henry opened his mouth, used all of his energy, and said, I am strong. I am tough. I am armed with love. But he couldn't believe them. He wasn't strong or tough. All he wanted to do was give up. And if he was armed with love, why did he feel so alone? The Cancerasaurus took one big step towards Henry, then another. Its eyes were glaring, and with each step it started to grow bigger once more. But as it towered over the boy, something happened. For the first time, Henry noticed that they were not alone in the castle. Standing in the corner was the lizard he had befriended, who had carried him up the mountain. I believe in you, Henry, the lizard cried. Behind her, hanging in the door, was the spider he helped out of its web, and along the wall a mama squirrel with a line of baby squirrels under her tail. Even Mr. Toad from his pond was there. All different kinds of animals and bugs from the forest had come. We believe in you, Henry! Mr. Toad is right, Henry thought. To make the Cancerasaurus disappear for good, I must believe in the magic words, just like all the animals and new friends believe in me. His voice was almost a whisper, but it rang with truth. I am strong, he said, thinking how far he had traveled even though he felt weak and sick. I am tough, he cried, taking a step toward the Cancerasaurus. The beast could not steal his happiness, even as it roared at him in fury. I am armed with love. As he yelled this, all the animals began to cheer. The magic words had been spoken, but Henry had more to say. I will fight! He raised a fist. The castle rumbled and the walls shook. The Cancerasaurus wasn't looking so big and scary anymore. In fact, it had shrunk down to the size of a big, angry cow. I will win! The Cancerasaurus gave a yelp and shriveled down to the size of a mouse. I am Henry the Brave, he bellowed. Even so, it bared its teeth, swung its claws, and let out a pathetic roar. Henry laughed. He wasn't afraid anymore. With those final words, Henry bent down and picked up the tiny Cancerasaurus. It was barely larger than his thumb. And with that, poof, the Cancerasaurus was gone in a puff of green, foul-smelling smoke. That evening, the castle was filled with music, laughter, and magic. Henry had forgotten how good it felt to not have the Cancerasaurus following him like a dark storm cloud. But when he imagined returning to his safe little mushroom home, instead of feeling warm, he felt a bit sad. He was glad his long journey was over, but he would miss all of his new friends. "You showed great bravery and kindness, Henry," Dronk said, appearing beside him. "Not only for yourself, but to all the creatures you met along your journey. I could use an assistant like you to help make potions for others in need." Henry was filled with joy. When Gronk asked if he could stay in the castle, Henry immediately agreed under one condition. "Well, as long as I can still visit Mr. Toad in the pond." Dronk smiled. "Of course, and your new friends are always welcome here." And with that, Henry lived happily in the castle, surrounded by friends and helping others in need. He never saw the stinky, cranky Cancerasaurus again, and he never stopped believing those magic words. "I am strong, I am tough, I am armed with love. I will fight, I will win. I am Henry the Brave."
Awesome! Wasn't that a wonderful story? Remember, when you think things are bigger than you are or something seems scary, even little boys can do big things. So, I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope it helps you in some kind of way. I enjoyed you, and don't forget, stay tuned. The Brave Cowboy. Horton Hears a Boo. How to Catch a Monster. And one of my favorites, Room on the Broom. See you next time.